Hey everyone, Dan Saavedra from MergeYourData, and today is day 14 of the 90-day YouTube sprint all on signal analytics. And today we're going to be talking about how to handle longer B2B sales cycles. So if you've been in the game for a while, you know that 2024 and the end of 2023 saw longer sales cycles than early 2020s when the COVID money was flowing. Everyone was buying, and it took honestly pretty little effort to close on a lot of prospects. And now things are returning to normal. It's getting a little more difficult to sell whatever you're selling, and people are just taking longer to make those decisions. So we're going to talk about how you can handle that. And before we jump into that, I'm Dan Saavedra. I'm the founder of a signal analytics consulting firm called MergeYourData. Like I said, we take data points from all across your systems and pick out the ones that will show you which prospects are most likely to buy, which ones are least likely to buy, and tons of other things after that. Put it directly into your CRM. Been working in data for 12 years, from analyst level to consultant. But who is this entire video relevant for? Three main people here, and the last one is probably pretty surprising to you. So we have the sales leadership plus their team, RevOps leadership plus their team, and even marketing leadership plus their team. If you're a leadership in any of those areas, then there is a good possibility that you have responsibility around performance of your team and whether or not the company is achieving its goals in terms of revenue growth, retention, and everything else in between. So obviously you care about sales cycle length because the longer it takes to close deals, the more difficult it is to hit those revenue targets within the timeframes that were specified at the beginning of the year. And so this might mean a lot of things. It could mean having to fire people because you're still having to pay for the resources in order to keep the machine running. It could mean trying to pump more money into marketing budgets so that you're producing more leads so that you can have more volume and hopefully close a few of those sooner than others. So there's a lot of implications to this. And that's why each of these different organizations, their leadership and their team members, are relevant to this conversation. If you're in the team, then obviously you're taking action on these items, and maybe you can even use it as a strategy for yourself to look for signals that your prospects might be sharing with you without them knowing or with them knowing. And so then marketing also comes into the conversation because there's actually ways that we can use signals and loop marketing back for retargeting and communications with prospects that might not be actively engaged with a sales rep, but might get them back into an active state if we play our cards right. So why you would care about this? Three main things. Longer sales cycles means less revenue attained. So obviously if it's taking longer to close revenue, then your new revenue is not going to be as high as if sales cycles were way shorter because it's extended out. The time period's extended out. Two, profitability is slowly declining. You're still running your business. You're still fulfilling. You still have headcount. If you expected a growth rate and you're not achieving that, then your profitability is going down by definition. So that's a big deal for leadership. Obviously, if you're not as profitable, things need to change. Three, missing targets, looking bad. No one likes to look bad. No one likes to make promises that they cannot fulfill and do not fulfill. This hurts your long-term image in your career, I would say. Obviously, it's not cut and dry, but no one likes the feeling of not succeeding in the role that they were put in to succeed. So those are the reasons why we care. So we want to get back to this where we're stacking money predictably. We are closing deals in a shorter time frame. Revenue is back on track. And so the strategy that we want to take, and this is before we get into the details, which is what this presentation is about, focus on the best prospects, improve timing, improve relevance. If you can nail those three things, there's a chance that you're going to reduce your sales cycle length again. Now, that being said, you cannot force prospects into closing sooner. Obviously, you have to provide the path ahead of them for them to be willing to pay you money. And so this isn't forcing people from the back saying that now's a better time to buy, because we know it's the right time and it's relevant and all this other stuff. It's more about showing that you understand, showing that you're engaged and partner in achieving success with your champion rather than trying to force them into a specific result. So that's the philosophy we take. We're not trying to force people into any types of sales. Most of our clients aren't either. Some people have a little bit different philosophy where they are higher pressure with the sales. But what we've seen is if we can improve these three things, then we won't have to be needy in any way. And so obviously I'm talking about signal analytics. So that's how we're going to implement this strategy. We're going to be able to improve timing, relevancy, and focus on the best prospects because we have the signals and know the data points where we can do those three things. And so you have the three types of signals. You have the negative, neutral, and positive, just like stoplights. Negative signals are still useful. It's useful to stop at a stoplight because other cars are crossing the intersection. And with negative signals, it's useful to know because you can downsell or stop communicating with a prospect that's never going to convert or will be a bad fit. Yellow is neutral. Some people decide to speed through a yellow light. Some people slam on their brakes. Other people don't even know it happened. And so with neutral signals, you can decide what to do with them, but usually there are ones that are not very relevant to the success of closing on a prospect. And so we just label those as neutral and don't really consider them for the time being. And then last but not least, we have positive green signals. That means go. It's a good time to reach out. Something changed, whatever it may be. These signals tell you that we're ready to start interacting with that prospect again, or we should focus on them, or maybe the messaging should change or something of the sort. So how do we implement this signal strategy, implementing strategy here? We're using signal analytics. One, we're going to know what data points indicate highest probability prospects. So we're going to understand exactly which data points, sliced and diced in different ways, lead to people converting at each stage in the pipeline. And so this will help us narrow down who we're going to focus on. We can put all of our resources and attention into trying to communicate with those prospects in the most efficient and effective ways, whether it's recording videos, whether it's roping in different stakeholders, whether it's researching and coming up with various use cases for them and potential solutions, whatever it may be for your organization. Knowing who the highest probability prospects are will let you not focus, not waste time on people that just aren't going to convert. And so that's going to help you reduce that sales cycle time because you're only working with people who are actually going to work with you in the future. It's just basic math. If your sales cycle is lengthening, why are you wasting time on people who you know aren't going to convert? Cut those people from your pipeline. Focus on the ones who are likely to convert, and then you'll start seeing that number shrink more and more. And that data can be fed back to marketing, and you know who better fit prospects are. And so then they can only focus on bringing in leads to you that are specifically high probability prospects. So it's a whole loop. It feeds itself. 2, capture data points around multi-threaded efforts. And so this is a lot of different things going on at once. Email opens, champion sharing your video within an organization and it getting watched, website visits from an entire account, especially if you're selling into enterprise or even mid-sized companies. There might be 8 to 15 people involved in purchasing decisions. And so you'll see them visiting different parts of your websites throughout the week after you share videos, after they open emails, after all these other actions that they're taking. And then you can construct a case to see what people are looking at. If sales is looking at one thing on your website, marketing is looking at another thing, they're interacting with different posts that you or your company are making on social media, you'll be able to see exactly what problems they might be facing and how they're interacting and discussing your solution, your product, your service. And then you can even suggest to bring all those people on a call and then offer solutions for specific problems they're facing, or just try to get everyone on the same page. There's a lot of different effort or different approaches that you can take. And if you're an expert at sales or you've been in sales for a while, you already know that you just need the opportunity to do these things. And this is the data that will show you when it's the appropriate time rather than just fishing in places where there are no fish. And 3, update communications based on signals captured. So this is where it comes back to marketing, which is you can retarget people, show them certain ads, show them certain case studies, lead them to certain pages on your website based off of where they're at in the pipeline and the actions that they're taking. And so you have those signals flowing in your CRM, hopefully flowing back to your ad platform or to your marketing team who's sending out emails to lists. And then you can be hyper targeted to people in a way that will make them feel heard. And so you can keep refining this messaging and then reach out to people in the correct way. And so this might look like different messages for different industries, or even different size companies within an industry, or different roles within a different industry. It doesn't matter how you slice it. The marketing team can figure out that messaging with signals as well. And now you have a closed loop system where communications are always relevant to your prospects, helping move them along the pipeline. So doing these three things with signal analytics is going to lead to shorter sales cycles because you're just more efficient in how you're communicating and who you are communicating with. So naturally that sales cycle time will start shrinking again, and your entire process will get more efficient. And that's what we're looking for overall. Because we want our targets, we want our projections to be more accurate so we can run the business how we plan to, rather than having to make these changes all the time on the fly because we're missing these targets. And so the last important part of this is analyze and automate. This is the stuff that we talk about. We take the signals, we feed them back into the CRM, and then we take action on them. And that's a loop that our company develops for people. But you need to look at your signals broken down by different dimensions that we talked about on other calls, or other videos, not other calls. We need to understand what are the top 3 positive, top 3 negative, and then we need to automate that into our systems so that sales reps, customer success managers are getting these signals at the right time, and so they can be timely with their communications to prospects and existing customers for new sales, for upsells, whatever it may be. And so this is the whole process of signal analytics. This is what it's used for. You need to take action on it. You never just build a dashboard and say, that's cool. Otherwise, you shouldn't have built that dashboard. And so this is how you finish out the process here. Last but not least, please take one action, like, comment, share in a company chat. Like I say on almost every video lately, if you don't like it, please comment. I want to hear what you don't like. If you want to hear another video or maybe another perspective on signal analytics, comment that as well. Always appreciate the engagement. I know I said in the last video I was going to go over one of the free resources that we have. We're making some updates to that, so that's going to be in the next video instead. And that's why I left this slide the same as the last video, which is deep dive on our new free signals resource. So if you haven't subscribe on YouTube or the link in the description where we'll be sending that free signal resource. I'm Dan Saavedra from MergeYourData. If you do not have signals feeding into your CRM and you're missing revenue targets, you are not performing as expected, and you know you have the data, you just don't know how to get it, or maybe you want to add additional data points, whatever it may be, reach out to our team. We're going to help you meet those targets, meet those promises that you've made, give you the data to make clear decisions, give your team data to have successful quarters, quarter after quarter. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.